true colors shining through.
Soon to come, the inventor of the what is it, the IQC?
The IQC, the Identity Quotient Calculator. I have invented the Identity Quotients Calculator.
And how did you come across this invention?
Well, I analysed where my work had been shown for the last 10 years, and then I discovered that based on that, I have this multiplicity of identities. So I work in several different mediums. I do video, and I do radio, and new media, and performance, and I do arts, advocacy, and policy, because that's what happens when you have multiple identities. And my work, all those different kinds of works, is shown in the context of festivals, mostly, that relate to women, or queer, or disabled, or human rights, or in the mainstream, really. When I work in film, I'm 36% female, 29% queer, 21% a human rights activist, and 14% disabled. And when I work in radio, I'm 100% disabled. Well, you know, when I work in radio, it's a very intimate kind of thing. And then when I work in performance, I'm 60% queer and 10% each of female, disabled, human rights activists, and mainstream.
And new media?
Well, interesting, because I'm not there. That was the interesting thing about the Identity Quotients Calculator, is when I'm not there, I become more mainstream. So if my physical being's not there, my voice isn't there, I'm not queer or disabled anymore. Apparently, I'm quite mainstream.
So in new media you are.
So when I do new media, I'm 50% disabled, and 25% human rights activists, but 25% mainstream. And when my poetry gets published, and it's just words on a page and I'm not there at all, I'm 40% mainstream and only 20% each of female, disabled, and queer. Well, if I'm not there, I'm not queer or a woman any longer. Some of the identities are less in different artistic mediums, and sometimes they disappear, like in new media, but in every single category I'm always disabled. So the funny thing is, with the IQC, which is what we're calling the Identity Quotients Calculator, because, you know, it affects your brain, really, and how smart you are depending on your identity, is that most of my work so far hasn't really been about disability, even though disability informs what I do. But being concerned about everything that's happening in the world, my work isn't about disability, it's about all kinds of things.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
The standard deviation is how much of a deviant you are and how far you are away from the norm. So if the norm of society, the way things are arranged in the society we live in at the moment, is it's, you know, white and it's male and it's middle class and it's heterosexual and it's able-bodied and all of those things. And if you're not like that, you're one or more standard deviation away. So it's true, when I look at the standard deviation, I'm like white and come from a middle class background and I'm English speaking. But then again, I'm a female and queer and kind of androgynous looking and disabled and a survivor of abuse and torture. So each of those is 1, so my standard deviation is 5. So then there's this kind of exponential thing that can happen where my standard deviation is 5. I belong to these 5 marginalized groups from the norm of society, but I also have 5 different disabilities. And then I work in 5 artistic mediums. I do video and I do radio and I do new media and performance and arts advocacy. So if you multiply all that together, 5 artistic disciplines, 5 marginalized groups, 5 disabilities, you get 125. So on any given day, I am one of the 125 combinations I could be. which kind of also explains why I'm always being slightly the wrong person in the wrong place. But I'm kind of good with that now. I realise that I'm not going to fit in. I don't really have an expectation of sort of fitting in and being accepted anymore. There'll be always some little part of me pinging up to be the wrong thing in the wrong place, and I'm prepared now.
That's great. And the IQC has helped you with
Yeah.
understand that. Now, are you going to make the IQC available to the public?
Well, I'm thinking about making the IQC available to the public. Maybe my friend has said that I should make a kind of calculator that people could enter their data in. Maybe, you know, it's race, maybe it's gender, maybe whatever your different identities are, and their artistic disciplines, and then they could enter in where their work has been, you know, exhibited, shown, performed, and then they could work out their own IQC and then print out their own little pie chart with, you know, what percentage of whatever they are on any given day,
Right.
and in each discipline.
Right.
And then they'd know who to be when they went out. Yeah, I have been talking with a software developer, and you know, I'm really reasonably tech savvy. I kind of have some ideas how to pull this together in my computer, and I've been working on a prototype, so I do need a little bit of help how to make it into an application that'll be transferable to other computers and maybe usable on the web or downloadable into your computer or into your iPod or your, you know, BlackBerry, so that if you're on your way to a meeting, not that, frankly, most of us who are, say, disabled and in arts have so many iPods or BlackBerries, but just say that we did. You're on your way to a meeting, you can quickly enter in and check, you know, okay, video, right, 33% female, not so much queer. And then you'll be prepared for your meetings each time. And then, you know, you might have to rush to something else, go to rehearsal or something, and you need to be 60% queer, and you better have a little check and recalculate yourself.
Right.
And recalibrate yourself.
Right. That's great. So that would, the iPhone application, you could get an IQC.
Coming to an iPod soon.
So the identity quotient calculator, all those percentages are running underneath of these personas.
Yes, at all times.
Wow, you must be tired.
They're quickly recalculating.
Are you tired? Does that make you tired?
It makes me very tired.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a big job.
Well, having all these different, you know, identities to kind of give some attention to, these different media communities, different marginalised communities. But since I've got the IQC, it's much easier for me. More of the time, I'm turning up as the right person in the right place, as opposed to just turning up as any random combination before, and my life is so much easier.